PFTR 1122, exercise progression and regression. We're going to do a couple open kinetic chain exercises and a couple closed kinetic chain exercises and go over a little bit about making them easier or harder, progression and regression. So, I'm going to start off with a closed kinetic chain upper extremity exercise, the push-up. Basic push-up, like so. Now, to make it easier or harder, what we're going to do is move our center of gravity, and how we're going to do that is by changing the angle of the lever arm by moving the fulcrum either above or below your effort. So, if you move your fulcrum below your effort arm, like so, you're moving your center of gravity back further away from your effort, which makes it easier. But if you do the reverse of that and put your fulcrum above your effort arm, you move the center of gravity closer to your effort, and that makes it more difficult. For our second exercise, we are going to do an open kinetic chain upper extremity exercise, bent over lateral raise. So the basic bent over lateral raise. Now, to make this exercise easier or harder, we are going to change the length of our lever arm. So to make it harder, you make your lever arm as long as you can. To make it easier, you make it as short as you can. And of course, there's everywhere in between. So as hard as you can, or start shortening your lever arm. It makes it easier and easier until you're not really moving much of the load at all with your lever arm. For our open kinetic chain lower extremities, we're going to do a seated calf raise. Now, standard calf raise. To make it easier or more difficult, what we're going to do on this one is just change the amount of load that we're using. So easier, you lighten your load. You need it harder, increase your load. And for our fourth movement today, we are going to do a squat, closed kinetic chain, lower extremities. Now, one way to make this harder is to change the amount of levers. When you do a squat, you have two levers doing the work. You want to make it harder, change the amount of levers down to one, which I'm not very good at, but makes it much harder. Unfortunately with that, I don't know how to make it easier, so another way you can make this easier or harder is your range of motion. If you use less of a range of motion, it's easier. You use your full range of motion, it's harder. So you use a small range of motion and the exercise is easy. You use a full range of motion and the exercise is harder. Thanks for watching.